travel isn't just about destinations. It's about the people you meet, the cultures you immerse yourself in, the stories you carry home. I'm Relebogile Mabocha, and on my travel feature, I take you on a journey beyond the guidebook. Each week, I connect with fellow travelers, insiders, and storytellers to bring you the heart of every place. Whether it's a hidden gem right here in South Africa or a dream destination abroad. Join me as we travel through conversations, memories, and inspiration. Listen wherever you get your podcasts.
Let's walk the talk.
702.
So if you are in a monogamous relationship, I think the lines are often quite clear or easy to distinguish. There are things that you will accept and things you won't accept. You won't accept your partner supposedly sleeping with somebody else or kissing another person. But have you ever thought about what it would be like if your partner goes out and leaves their ring at home? Have you thought about what it's like when your partner spends more time talking to somebody else on the phone and what that means? So this phrasing, micro-cheating, from what I understand, falls in that. But to understand a little bit more, I'm joined in studio by Paula Quinsee. Paula is a relationship and life coach. Paula, good afternoon, good morning still. Thank you for joining us.
Morning, Tshidi. Good to be back in the studio again.
Like I said, I've never heard the phrase micro-cheating before, but when people speak about small breaches of trust that make a relationship difficult, I understand. How do we define it? How do we actually define micro-cheating?
Yeah, as you mentioned, it's not a common term that's been used before. It's a term, so when we think of cheating, we think of the physical cheating, right? The sleeping around kind of thing. But as we evolve and more, we talk about these topics, it's those little things, whether intentionally done or unintentionally done, that leaves us questioning, like leaves a question mark hanging. Like, did that really happen? Am I reading too much into this? Is it really innocent, or is there something else there? And it kind of leaves us feeling a little bit uncomfortable. There's a level of discomfort associated with it.
There's a question of threshold then, because some things I think would be okay with some people, but they wouldn't. How does one gauge how that works and what that is? So if somebody's listening now and suspects that they could be experiencing somebody who's micro-cheating, how do they determine a threshold?
This is where couples need to have those, as I call them, courageous conversations or honest conversations in terms of boundaries and deal breakers and non-negotiables. So, we always talk about the obvious ones, infidelity, cheating, sleeping around, but we don't necessarily talk about those emotional micro-discretions, as you mentioned. So, for example, talking to someone and sharing intimate details about my relationship or my partner or where I'm at with someone else who is not my partner, so someone outside of the relationship. It breaches that intimate connection you have with your partner, and it starts breaching or eating away at the trust in your relationship because your partner's confiding in someone else about intimate details.
How frequently do they happen? When you look at relationships of partners, how often do you see them experiencing these so-called micro-cheating? How often does it happen?
I think it probably happens more often than we realize it because we don't necessarily sit down and reflect and think about it or question it or speak to our partners about it and share, like, this makes me feel uncomfortable or this doesn't sit well with me because of potentially coming across as being jealous or insecure or controlling, and that may not necessarily be the case.
And what does it look like? How does it manifest? We spoke about leaving a ring, spoke about having a greater connection with somebody else. What are the behaviors? If somebody's listening now and is like, what would you say, yes, that could fall under the umbrella of micro-cheating? What kind of behaviors do people need to look out for?
So some examples would be what perceives to be flirtatious, but it's dismissed or downplayed as innocent, being nice or being kind. So commenting on someone, whether it's on that person in person physically or on a social media perspective. So commenting on their posts. Emojis, heart-shaped emojis to someone that is not your partner. So a colleague, for example. Keeping in touch with exes, whether it's snooping and stalking them on social media or having conversations with them or other people for that matter that your partner's not aware of. It's being done behind their back. It's not being done in an open, honest, transparent way. Things like you're kind of ad hocly bumping into someone that just by chance happened, but it happens more than once. It's kind of this ongoing, oh, I bumped into so-and-so today, and oh, I bumped into so-and-so and we had coffee. Yes, okay.
Where's this going?
So it's little things like that. Your partner may be sitting on their phone and deleting messages. Like, why are you deleting messages if there's nothing to hide? Or quickly switching, to something else on your phone or on your laptop so that your partner can't see it. So if you're doing something behind your partner's back, or you're not being completely open and transparent about it, why?
Earlier you said that it could be intentional and unintentional. Mm-hmm. Is it a sign of something deeper that's going wrong in the relationship? And how do you, because, let me go back, let me go a few steps back. Let's first distinguish how it can happen unintentionally, because everything you've just described now is quite intentional. When you lie and you go behind your partner's back and you delete messages, those are intentional acts. How can it happen unintentionally?
So some of those examples, let's say, for example, there is a colleague that you work quite closely with. You spend a lot of time, you're working on a project together. It could potentially be long hours as well. So sometimes you have to communicate after hours, or you have to work late in the office together, right? So unintentionally, you end up sharing stuff about your life because you spend so much time together, right? So unintentionally, you're starting to form an emotional connection with this person that could blur the lines between colleagues and professionalism, and starting to, step into that blurred line of there's an emotional connection happening here, which could lead to emotional infidelity, right? So you don't have to physically have sex with someone to cheat. Being emotionally connected to someone else is a form of cheating.
In and of itself, that's an important point to make. Micro-cheating, is it signs of a deeper problem in the relationship?
It can be. So it could be the relationship itself. There's something going on between you and your partner, that your partner is seeking their needs being met somewhere else. In other words, you and your partner don't have a strong emotional connection and emotional bond. Your partner's craving that. They're not getting it from you, so they seek it in other ways. Other ways could be sports, hobbies, work, online, that kind of thing, because you're not getting that connection and that recognition and that validation and that appreciation in your relationship. It could be with your own personal issues, your self issues, right? Self-esteem, self-worth, where you're seeking that outside as opposed to doing the own inner work in terms of your own personal growth and development.
I'm in conversation with Paula Quinsee. We are discussing micro-cheating. If you've ever heard of that phenomenon, or you've got questions, you're worried that you might be committing a bit of micro-cheating, breaching the trust, the relationship, building intimacy with somebody else outside of the relationship. It's not just about physical cheating. We're having that conversation now. Have you ever experienced micro-cheating, this particular phenomenon? Does your partner turn up the charm for a friend, for a coworker? Do they consistently comment on photos? And this is one that you hear of so often, that they comment on photos of people they find attractive on social media. Does this behavior bother you? Are you engaging yourself in micro-cheating? 011-883-0702. That's if you want to call in and weigh in on the topic. Or 072-702-1702 if you want to give comment or question, and that also allows you to be anonymous on the WhatsApp line. Let's take a quick break and we'll come back.
Travel isn't just about destinations. It's about the people you meet, the cultures you immerse yourself in, the stories you carry home. I'm Tshidi Madia, and on my travel feature, I take you on a journey beyond the guidebook. Each week, I connect with fellow travelers, insiders, and storytellers to bring you the heart of every place. Whether it's a hidden gem right here in South Africa or a dream destination abroad. Join me as we travel through conversations, memories, and inspiration. Listen wherever you get your podcasts.
Let's walk the talk.
702.
All right, we are in conversation with relationship and life coach Paula Quinsee. We're speaking about the phenomenon of micro-cheating. Do you like other people's social media posts behind your partner's back? Breaches of trust, not full on a physical relationship with somebody else outside of your relationship. you are breaching your partner's trust. That's what we are engaging on, trying to understand how to spot and to prevent micro-cheating in relationships. Paula, there are questions coming through. There are WhatsApps. I'm going to play you. Let me just actually start with the questions for you first. This question's coming in now from Anonymous. Anonymous says, I like taking responsibility before accusing someone. What if it's my insecurities? How do I not self-doubt myself that when my partner changes his tone when speaking to females, that's not flirting? I think that's important.
Yeah, I think that's, first of all, kudos to you in terms of your self-awareness and checking in with yourself first in terms of, am I overreacting and where is this coming from? Is it my own issue, my own baggage that's triggering me and my own insecurities? And then how do I speak to my partner about this? And how do I help my partner to understand that this triggers me and it makes me feel uncomfortable? And how can we find a way forward where he can support me working through my issues, that in a way that helps to maintain that trust and that respect within the relationship?
I've got a voice note for you. Let me play that for you now.
Morning, Tshidi, and your guest. This is Mandla from Pretoria. I would like to contribute to this topic. So, I think sometimes, like an individual would hide maybe like messages from colleagues and stuff, because that's probably how the environment is like at work. But you knowing your person, that they'll take it like some type of way. So you kind of having like a balance in terms of you keeping like your colleagues happy and also keeping things peaceful like at home. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much for that. Do you want to weigh in on that?
So I'm going to be daring and say it sounds like a bit of a cop-out there, because what work environment actually enables or enforces in a culture where you can behave in a way that may be deemed as inappropriate, that could have an impact on your well-being and your home environment? However, in saying that, I think it needs more context to the situation. So first of all, why do you feel the need to delete messages if it's colleagues and it's work related? And yes, at work we do joke around with colleagues and we do have fun and those kind of things. But if it's all above board and appropriate, then why the need to delete those messages? And if there's nothing to hide, why are you not being transparent with your partner? And if your partner is involved in your life and sharing your life with you, and they've been exposed to your work environment and your colleagues and they know them, then there should be a level of comfort there. But at the same time, it is up to you to manage that responsibility in terms of respect both ways.
I wonder if there's a thin line or a way to differentiate the idea of micro-cheating versus emotional cheating, because some of the issues that you flagged also sound kind of similar, that they could fall into that bracket of supposedly emotional cheating. How do we differentiate between the two, or are they the same thing?
Well, so that they are kind of very closely aligned in that they do blur into each other. So, for example, if you are focusing your attention on, and giving your attention to someone else and making that a priority over your partner, right? That is a form of micro-cheating and emotional cheating, because your energy and your emotions are being steered away from your relationship and your partner, which should be your primary relationship and your priority relationship. But if you're giving all your attention to this other person, what is going on here that you feel the need to have this connection with this other person? And why is your partner being excluded?
There's always it's not a spectrum per se, but there's always a back and forth about the harm that physical cheating can cause, supposedly. The harm that something like this can cause. Is there a way to try and gauge whether this is more dangerous, more harmful, more damning to a partnership, the relationship and the individuals involved, than physical cheating? Is it easier to get over this once you've decided that actually these are not small things, that these are actual breaches of trust that I can't get over? How much easier is it to navigate the twin? It's supposed to get over it.
Yeah. Look, it depends on the individual. I would say that probably the physical cheating would be a potential harder barrier to get over, because this is an intimate thing that you've shared with your partner. It's intimate space. It's physical intimacy that's being shared versus emotional intimacy. That doesn't necessarily say that the pain is not the same that we experience, and that a person can bounce back from both, because the impact of that is not only the trust gets eroded, it can impact your self-esteem and your self-worth, and question, what is wrong with you that your partner went and did this? Why couldn't they see your value or appreciate you or respect you? And it can impact you on a mental and emotional perspective.
I want to go back to the WhatsApp lines. Another message for you here. It's a little bit lengthy. I belong to a community group on WhatsApp that one of my husband's acquaintances also belongs to. A few weeks ago, he sent a message to me via WhatsApp, which I immediately showed my husband. My husband was naturally annoyed, even though there wasn't anything untoward about the message. His acquaintance then messaged me again, and I just ignored it, and once again told my husband about it. There was no reason for my husband not to know about it. So a thing like that, where she's done nothing at all. Mm-hmm. She's communicated to the husband. The husband still gets annoyed, as if she's done something. There's nothing untoward also about the message.
So I think, great for her in being transparent and open with her husband. It would be natural for a partner to get triggered in terms of what is going on here. Why is this person reaching out to my partner privately as opposed to in this community group if there's nothing untoward? And then secondly, for this partner to put this person in their place and go, I feel uncomfortable with this. I feel it's inappropriate, and I'd prefer if you didn't contact me and we kept it to a group environment.
And then what does one do if they suspect, Paula, that their partner might be involved? How do you bring it to the surface, confront it supposedly, without it becoming worse or worsening the situation or creating tension within the partnership?
So first of all, from a self point of view, is what is this triggering in you? What is the emotions that are being evoked in you? And where is that coming from? Is it baggage from past relationships and past experiences, which we all have, and it's okay to have those? And then how is that impacting you in terms of your behavior? So the self-awareness perspective. And then being able to have a conversation with your partner about this in a calm, respectful way, dealing with the facts around when this happens, this is how it makes me feel, and this is what I would prefer or need or like from you instead. And is your partner willing to see it from your side? And are they willing to, work with you going forward in terms of sitting down and both agreeing on these are our boundaries, these are our non-negotiables, and this is how we will handle situations going forward, and to keep that level of respect and trust going in our relationship.
Would it be wise to say to somebody, you must preempt that if you get into a relationship, you might have to face these kind of micro cheating, to set boundaries even before you experience it? Is it wise to then sit down and say, these are my boundaries. I don't want to go beyond here as a couple, even if it's not about the physical. If you do A, B, C, D, E, this is how I'll receive it.
Most definitely. Those big conversations and real conversations should happen very early on in a relationship to make sure that you are aligned and on the same page. You know where you stand with each other, and you respect each other's boundaries, and you respect your relationship. But over time, we grow and evolve as individuals, and our relationship evolves. And so we need to constantly check in with each other. Are we still aligned and on the same page? And do we still feel the same way about things?
All right. Thank you so much. I've got a caller for you in Pretoria. TT, good morning.
It's Tshidi. How are you?
Very good. Go on. Go ahead. Paula's listening.
How does it feel not to speak about politics?
It's so awkward.
I think it all boils down to trust and to confidence. I think if you are confident as a person, and then there's going to be less tension and there's going to be a less dealing with insecurities when you're in a relationship with someone. And you know, when you communicate effectively, I mean, you don't need to be annoyed when you're raising something. You know what I mean? But also trust and believe that your person is going to make the right decisions. And you must also believe and know that if they want to do something untoward, they'll do it. Whether or not you get annoyed, whether or not you track them, whether or not you check on them, if they want to do it, they'll do it, and there's nothing you can do because they want to do it anyway. So just have trust and have confidence. Or you know what I'm doing for my partner, I know I'm doing my best. She knows what she's getting from me. I'm trying, and if she wants to do something, she should. But untoward or something I don't like, I'll communicate effectively. But there's no fight all the time, because as it is, we are different people, right? We are different as it is. So there's a lot of instances where we're going to step on each other's toes, a lot. But it's about how we deal with it.
Sure.
You know, if I turn around and I'm looking at someone else passing, and I'm looking at the way they dress because maybe I like their dress, and my girlfriend doesn't like it, then she tells me, babe, I don't like that. You know, but it was intuition. It's not like I was doing anything wrong according to me. Then because she tells me, I don't do it anymore. But imagine she fights, now the tension, it spoils the day, it spoils the week. You know what I mean?
Okay, yeah.
So that's my submission.
Thank you so much, Titi. She mustn't behave like a politician. Thank you so much, Titi. It's 11:30. I'm gonna allow Paula to weigh in on that after the headlines. He said it's about trust and communication. I suspect she might have a very similar view. It's 11:30.
Travel isn't just about destinations. It's about the people you meet, the cultures you immerse yourself in, the stories you carry home. I'm Tshidi Madia, and on my travel feature, I take you on a journey beyond the guidebook. Each week, I connect with fellow travelers, insiders, and storytellers to bring you the heart of every place. Whether it's a hidden gem right here in South Africa or a dream destination abroad. Join me as we travel through conversations, memories, and inspiration. Listen wherever you get your podcasts.
702
Let's walk the talk on 92.7
and 106 FM.
It's 11:35. We are hanging out with Paula Quinsee, a relationship and life coach, discussing micro cheating. So those are intentional things, those small breaches of trust in relationships. That's what we're talking about. How do you navigate that? How do you spot it? How do you prevent them from taking place? She says they can be intentional and unintentional. What have you spotted your partner doing? What are you concerned about? 011-883-0702. If you've got a question for Paula and you wanted to help you identify what it is, how to navigate it, 072-702-1702. That's for WhatsApps and voice notes. Paula, before the headlines with TT in Pretoria, and he spoke about how to handle these micro-cheating incidents as they arise. And he said, you've got to be calm. It's got to be a conversation. It cannot be hostile. But at the heart of it, he spoke a lot about trust and communication.
Definitely, and those are critical to any relationship, but especially in your romantic relationship, where things can often be assumed or misunderstood or presumed, right? And then secondly, most importantly, what he referred to is when there is conflict is how do we repair the rupture? How do we deal with that conflict and that pain or that gap that has been created and shifted, so that we repair that rupture, so that we move forward in a stronger place than before. And having these open, honest conversations in a calm way, in a positive way, a solution-orientated way, is what helps couples work through situations like this.
On the WhatsApp line, it says, my girlfriend used to work in an environment where she talks to many clients, so many clients, and then they're still calling. Well, she's used to talk to so many clients, and they're still calling sometimes, which irritates me. Is it advisable to ask her to change the phone numbers? Please advise.
So, yes, you could. I mean, that would be an extreme case, right? Because a phone number is a part of someone's identity, and especially if it's being used for work purposes, let alone personal purposes. I think in this case, it would be if your partner has left this job and they're no longer in this role, why are these customers still phoning her? Number one. And number two, how is she dealing with that? Is she Is she communicating that she's no longer there and passing them on to whoever should be the right contact that should be, servicing these clients? What is the situation in the context here, and how is she contributing to putting down a boundary and saying, I'm not in this position anymore, I'm not in this role, this is who's taken over, this is who you should be communicating with?
I want to go to the voice notes. Now I think I've got a voice note for you. Abel?
Hi, Tshidi, great show. I've got a different view. Why is it easy for people to comply with companies' cybersecurity measures or conflict of interest, compliance as well? And when it comes to relationships, we don't see relationships in that way. I mean, I don't understand. I'm a male. I do understand, if I do certain things, that could jeopardize how, my wife can have see me or perceive me to be doing stuff. I just stay away from them. That's potential risk. Simon in Roodepoort.
Thank you so much, Simon in Roodepoort. For him, it's very simple. Like, look, there are things that are potential risk I will not do because I know that will be a problem for my wife. Says people comply with company laws. Why not? Maybe answer that. Why can't we comply with the rules in a monogamous relationship?
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. And, that's where it boils down to values and boundaries and respect. So what is your value system? So from his value system, where he's coming from is about being ethical and being respectful and not even engaging or even thinking about crossing those lines. So there's a level of self-respect there as well as respect for my partner and my relationships. I'm not even going to do those things. And that's where it's important that couples have these conversations around, what are our relationship values? What are our boundaries? What is a non-negotiable? And what would I consider from my perspective as cheating or micro-cheating or untoward behavior? And let me hear where you're from and what it looks like in your world so that we can understand each other and we're aligned and on the same page.
Of the boundaries set, though, sometimes you listen to your partner and it feels like they're just exaggerating, that it's not about crossing a boundary. How do you then make that determination between this is something that's legitimate, that I should actually listen to, this person is authentically bothered, versus this person is exaggerating? Because sometimes in relationships, you hear people going, the ranting and raving is purely for attention's sake. It's not legitimate. It's not what I think it ought to be. It's not authentic. How do you differentiate and as you maneuver each other's boundaries?
So I think when there's sort of general statements that are made, for example, you're always talking to women, or you're always talking to men, or you're always working late, or you never do this. Those are generalized statements, right? Which can then be over exaggerated because it may have happened once or twice or whatever it might be. So I think the most important thing is dealing with facts, right? When this particular thing happened or when you behaved or responded in this particular way. So stick to the facts. Stick to the emotions around and owning it. This is how I feel. This is how it made me feel. And this is how I responded and reacted as a result of that. But what I need from you, which is the reassurance, the safety, the trust, the respect, is I'd prefer it if you did this or did that, right? And if you're finding that you are stuck between the two and there's no way forward, that's when I would recommend you seek the help of a professional that can help you sit and work through these issues together to find a way forward that works for both of you.
I was going to ask you, how do couples build trust once it's been established that these breaches have happened, you have cheated in some shape or form, even if it is these breaches? How do couples go about rebuilding beyond? Does it always have to end up with getting an outsider to assist, or is there a way the two of them can find tools, instruments, and ways to deal with this?
So you don't necessarily have to find an outsider to help you. It really depends on the dynamic and the emotional maturity of the couple to be able to sit down and work through these situations together. But research does show us that once trust has been breached, it can take up to 2 years to rebuild that trust from both sides. So the person that was the that was the wrongdoer, let's say, they need to show up and be open and honest and transparent and show that there's nothing to hide. The person that is on the receiving end of it, they need to rebuild the trust in terms of giving the benefit of the doubt going forward. And both of them need to be able to, when there are triggers, to be able to sit down and talk through it and go, this has triggered me, this is how I'm feeling, and this is what I'm needing in this moment right now.
Like physical cheating, I imagine it's possible to recover from this, and it's possible to self-correct in behavior.
Correct. So, people don't wake up in the morning and decide, today I'm going to cheat on my partner and I'm going to find the first person that comes along and I'm going to have an affair. It doesn't work like that, right? It happens over time because there is something missing in your relationship. There are things that are not being met in the relationship that is causing a person to seek it externally, right? And yes, there are people that have gone through physical cheating and or emotional cheating and have worked through it together. They've done the hard work. They've rebuilt the trust and they've turned their relationship around 360 and come out of it stronger than before. So it is possible, but it does take hard work on both sides.
I'm going to go to the WhatsApp line. I've got one more WhatsApp for you.
Good day, 702 and the team. Yeah, also I would like to pass my regards to the lovely guest as well. Yeah, Tshidi. With all due respect, you guys please assist me with this issue. The partner of mine, she has that tendency of posting her male, friends. And when I'm trying to express my feelings or my dissatisfaction on that, she always become obstinate, so may you guys please assist me with the ideas as to how I can deal with this thing. Yeah, this is anonymous in Q.
All right. Is Anonymous just jealous or is there more to it?
So, the fact that this is bothering him, I would want to look at, what kind of posting is she doing? How often is it is it an ongoing thing? Has he tried to sit down and talk to her about this before? Have they clearly established what is appropriate and inappropriate? And then I would try and do it again in terms of, this, and show real examples of this kind of post or this kind of behavior is making me feel like this. I feel disrespected. I feel that you don't value our relationship or value me. I wouldn't, impose this on you and do this to you out of respect to you in our relationship. This is what I would like going forward is what does look like appropriate behavior. So, commenting on, for example, wishing someone a happy birthday as opposed to, hey, you look amazing, kind of, so drawing very clear lines on what I'm comfortable with and what I'm not comfortable with. And if they can't resolve it between themselves, then I would then seek professional help as to what is behind the behavior of the partner that is continuously doing this and what are the options for them going forward.
All right, I'm going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to work towards, trying to identify this within yourself as well. Let's take a quick break first.
702
Let's walk the talk on 92.7
and 106 FM.
Welcome back. You're listening to the Clement Manyathela Show with myself, Tshidi Madia, standing in for Clement. I'll be with you till 12. It's the relationship focus. We're looking at micro-cheating. How can you spot it? And how can you go about preventing it in your relationship? If you've got questions, you're curious about what is micro-cheating and whether you're doing it. If you're liking those pictures on social media, feel free to call in and to ask if they're suspicious of that. Feel free to call in and ask on 011-883-0702, 072-702-1702. We're hanging out with relationship and life coach Paula Quinsee. Paula, there's a question of your own behavior in all of this. It's one thing to be on alert so often and to spot the behavior of somebody else. One of our callers, actually one of the listeners, very early on said, I'd like to check myself before I even reach a conclusion. What does one need to look at to see whether or not they are breaching the trust, if they are committing these micro-cheating? What must I look out for as an individual?
So I think, first of all, if this was being done to you by your partner, would you be okay with it? And if not, then why are you doing it? Okay, and checking in with yourself. What is the motivation or the drive behind this kind of behavior? What's going on for you? And reflecting on your own behavior in that. Sometimes we may not be aware of the impact our actions is having on someone else because we think it's completely innocent. So listen to the feedback that you're getting. If this is continuous feedback that you're getting in relationships, whether it's with friends, family members, and even romantic relationships, there's a pattern there, right? A behavioral pattern. So pay attention to feedback that you're getting and going, people keep telling me these things or saying these things. So maybe I need to kind of dig a little bit deeper here and go on a little journey in terms of what's going on here and reflecting on my own behavior. And then if I'm doing it intentionally, why am I doing it intentionally? What is it within me that feels I need to show up this way and behave in this way? That talks to my sense of self-worth, self-belief, self-esteem, my value system, my insecurities, etc., my relationship patterns, which is a personal growth journey I need to go on.
We keep talking about it in a monogamous space, so we speak about it in a romantic relationship sense. But you mentioning all these other ones just piqued my interest. Can you be accused of micro-cheating with your other kinds of relationships? Is in friendships? Can you locate it in your family relationships? How does that work?
Yeah, the context can be taken in. So let's use friendship circles or friendships as a relationship example. You share experiences with a bestie, a best friend. You confide in each other. There's a level of trust there. And you tell that person something that's deep and personal to you, only to find out that they've shared it with someone else and it's come back to you. That is a breach of trust. It is a breach of respect. It is a breach of confidentiality. This person confided in you because they trust you, your best friend. And it can feel as equal betrayal with a best friend as it can with a romantic partner. And I guess the same can happen in the workplace as well. A colleague tells you something, they share something with you, and you go and share it and blurt it out in other. And it's not just necessarily about personal details. It could also be sensitive information from a workplace perspective that's breaching that trust.
On the WhatsApp line to your guest, Tshidi, I need guidance on how to deal with a partner that totally ignores my concerns and would rather spend the whole night on gadgets. I've reached the point of not giving a damn anymore and will ignore this and do my own things because clearly he doesn't care about me and this hurts me deeply.
Yeah, so it sounds like there is a big disconnect in that relationship. And why does that partner feel that they would rather be connected to devices than to their partner? And if this person has tried to speak to their partner about it and they still completely disregard their partner, I would then say you as the individual need to go and get some help for yourself in terms of your own self-worth. And why are you choosing to stay in a relationship with someone that is not making time for you, that does not see your value and does not want to connect with you, that rather connect with other things or other people or devices? And why are you choosing to stay in an environment where you're not being respected or seen or valued as a partner?
There's steps that one can take. Earlier we spoke about what do you need to look out for? And you said behavioral patterns. Are there immediate steps you suggest somebody must take when people say, actually, this is who you are very much complicit, this is the kind of person that you are? What would you say to that person? What are the first steps in correcting their behavior that they should take?
So I would go, so all of our baggage, we all have baggage, right?
All of us.
All of us. If you say you don't, I'm sorry, you're in denial. Okay. Go back, it stems from childhood, whether we like it or not. That's where our emotional foundation is formed. It is then carried with throughout our upbringing into adulthood, which is where it plays out the most. Go on a personal growth journey, unpack all of those things that has contributed to your behavioral patterns, which essentially from childhood started off as survival skills. We learn to modify and adapt our behavior to survive in the environments we were exposed to, healthy or unhealthy. That's become our pattern. Our primary relationship patterns are formed from our adult caregivers that we were exposed to, most cases parents or whoever played an influential role in us. We then took on those skills and traits, positive and negative, and it's shaped who we become and our relationship blueprint. Go and unpack those things, and how are they serving you positively or negatively? And then what are you choosing to do about it going forward in terms of your own personal growth and how you forge relationships with other people going forward, both romantic and other.
Just to also go back to, I'm going a few steps back again. How easily does micro-cheating lead to other forms of cheating?
It can, because those lines can become very blurred, and so sometimes you can overstep the mark where it can lead to physical cheating or affairs. But it doesn't always lead to that. But it leaves a question mark of hanging around.
We spoke about boundaries earlier on. I'm trying to wrap up now. We are unfortunately running out of time. If you still have questions for Paula, I'll try to squeeze them in for you. 0727021702. Earlier on, we spoke about the importance of setting boundaries as a way to manage this. You can even preempt even using boundaries. But what other tools can couples lean on?
So as your relationship, as you grow and evolve as an individual, you are going to shift and change. Your outlooks and views and perspectives are going to change, right? It's important that as you grow as individuals, you ensure that your relationship grows as well. You don't have to wait until your relationship is in trouble to equip yourself with knowledge and tools, right? Either at an individual level, so take yourself off on an individual development journey, read up, upskill yourself, do courses, go to workshops, seminars, go to professionals, whether it's a counselor, a therapist, a coach, or someone else, mentors, role models that you look up to. And then as a relationship, I always use the car analogy service. We take our car in for an annual service to make sure it's reliable and trustworthy and all of those kind of things. Why not do the same for our relationship? As we grow and evolve, let's upskill ourselves together.
That's it, right? It's like a car. Service yourself. There's a lot of homework there, but that's how you get yourself to the level that you want to be in the relationship. Paula, thank you so much. Thank you for your time and your insights. Very interesting. Like I said at the beginning, I had no idea what micro cheating was up until now. Thank you so much. Paula Quinsee is a relationship and life coach. Thank you, Paula.